Israelite knew what a sukkah was. It was either for a human being or for livestock. And do not Christian theologians teach that the King of the universe, the King of glory, condescended to leave his great throne and was born in a feeding trough? Don't they teach that? Okay, so we have one question left to determine. Do Israelites have their feeding troughs in a barn or in a sukkah? Once you've established that it's a sukkah, you're in. Turn to your neighbor and say you're in.
You're in.
Do you need more proof? Mathematically, seasonally, scripturally. There's another thing here, I don't even want to get into it because it's too much.
Fix it.
Too much. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, it's too much for me at this point. Nope, too much. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Sukkah, and lastly, Sukkah is symbolic of Yahweh being with his people. This baby was called what? As a title, not his name. As a title, Emmanuel. Why? El, Elohim, with us. And so the tabernacle, Yeshua said, dwell in booths for 8 days. Why? Because I am Yahweh, number one. That's always the best reason. And number two, I made. Turn to your neighbor and say, I made. What's another way of saying I made? I forced. Yahweh forced. What does it mean to be forced? Have no choice. Have no what? Alternative. No option. Yahweh forced the children of Israel to dwell in booths. Why? Because I made them dwell in booths in their 40-year wilderness wandering after they left Egypt. Amen? And Yahweh said, now for 8 days every year in the 7th month, dwell in booths that you may remember that I was your covering. That I was your cloud by day and your fire by night. I protected you, I overshadowed you, I covered you, I was with you, I was in the camp, I tabernacled among the people of Israel in all your wilderness wanderings. I never left you or forsook you, I never left you alone, and you are to dwell in tabernacles for 8 days to know that he that dwells under the shadow of the Almighty shall abide. Psalm 90, 1, 2, and 3. It's a reminder that as long as we walk with him, we're abiding under his shadow, under his protection, and under his covering. And now look, go to Yochanan. Is anyone enjoying? Is anyone enjoying?
Oh, yeah.
Yochanan. See, we don't just talk about Yeshua being born during Sukkot. We back it up. We back it up.
Amen.
So it's very easy to point out all the faults of the false system, but it's a lot harder to deliver truth. But if you got the truth, you need to deliver it. Turn to your neighbor and say you need to deliver it. Turn to your neighbor and say you need to deliver it on time. Just consider yourself the FedEx of the Messianic world. Turn to your neighbor and say,
Hallelujah.
you're Yahweh's FedEx. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. I always thought of you as my brother and sister, but now I see you in a new dimension. You're the package that gets right on time before 3 o'clock, right on time in season. Yochanan 1:14. And the Word, let's go to Yochanan 1:1. In the beginning was the Logos was with Elohim, and the Logos was Elohim. He was in the beginning with Elohim, all things came to be through him. Without him, not even one came to be that was. Jump down to verse 14. In the beginning was the Word, in the beginning before creation. And the Word, the Logos, to devour Yahweh, the Torah, Simchat Torah, the Word became flesh. Isn't it interesting? Yeshua was circumcised on Simchat Torah. The joy of the Torah. If you see Yeshua as a Torah that became flesh, you've got that Simchat Torah. See, traditional Judaism has Simchat Torah. That's great. They walk in the life that they have. But we who know Yeshua is the living Torah, who took on flesh and walked among us, we really need to let it out right now, and we really need to celebrate the joy of the Torah. Yeshua, the Word became flesh. Simchat Torah. Simchat Torah is for us, the regenerated children of the living Yahweh.
Baruch Hashem.
You know, your Jewish employer, some of you work for Dr. Mandelowitz, like Harry. Some of you work for Dr. Kildare Shlomovsky, Dr. Zhivago Stein. But, what the heck's that? FedEx? Package deal. Uh-oh.
That's not me.
Yochanan, you warned us. Where were we? How much us as Jewish believers, as Ephraimite believers, who have the Torah in our hearts, He's written the Torah in our hearts, and we recognize the Torah became flesh and dwelt among us. We are the children that are ordained to celebrate Simchat Torah. Look at verse 14. And the Torah became flesh and pitched his tent. Now that word there, pitched his tent, is an indication that he was born during tabernacles. It doesn't literally mean the word became flesh and dwelt. That's a terrible translation in the English, dwelt. The word in the Greek, and you'll have to look it up, I don't have the Greek with me, is not dwelt. It literally means, listen, pitched his booth. Right. Because when the word became flesh, that flesh walked among us, and then he pitched it. He pitched himself among us.
Oh, hallelujah.
Even the word dwelt among us in John 1:14 is another direct reference to tabernacles.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
The word became flesh and pitched his tabernacle among us so we can see his esteem. How did he pitch his tent among us? The word became flesh. He came during tabernacles. The Messiah was circumcised during tabernacles. The first 8 days of Messiah's life were spent in a tabernacle. What more can Yahweh say? He said, I'll give you a sign. A sign.
Oh, yeah.
The Messiah's first 8 days of his life will be spent in a tabernacle. He gave us a sign.
Yes.
And we're looking at a Christmas tree.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay.
That'll give you a sign. You know what sign that'll give you? That you're a pagan. Sorry if it offends you. If you're hungry for truth, you'll love the truth more than the offense.
That's right. I'm glad I don't look at the tree anymore.
Jeremiah 10:1. Walk not according to the ways of the pagans, for they take a tree, cut it down, the work of their own hands, and decorate it with gold and silver. Decorating trees is the ways of the Gentiles. If you're saved, you're not a Gentile. What sign is a tree? What sign is a tree? It's a sign of wealth. It's a sign of materialism. It's a sign of I'll bless you if you bless me. It's a sign of conditional love. If you give me gifts, I'll give you gifts. We're not to walk according to the sign of the tree, conditional love. We're supposed to walk according to agapeo. I will accept you and love you regardless of what you do to me.
Amen. Yes. Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
And I'll tell you something else Yahweh is doing with me. As we're moving to this new place, as we're moving to our own building, as we're moving to our own place, I'm inviting all the people back that have this fellowship. Every one of them. They won't all respond, but that's in my heart is clean. In other words, there's a season.
Yes.
It's a season for everything under heaven.
Amen.
So all those folks that have been disfellowshipped, 3 or 4, it's not a whole bunch, maybe 1 a year, have been invited back to join us in the new place.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
That's why you always do it in my heart. I don't know why. I don't know why. On the envelopes I wrote, please call.
Obedience better than
So,
sacrifice.
hey, you know, you can't excommunicate forever. You can't stay separated forever. You can't stay angry forever.
That's right.
Amen? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Hallelujah. That doesn't mean they're all going to come back. It just means that our heart, you and I always have to do the right thing. There's a season for putting out the camp. There's also a season for them to return to the camp. Under the understanding that they don't talk against the rabbi, talk against the sheep, pull the sheep apart, behave themselves. Amen? Anyway, I don't know why I went there, but Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Go with me, we close with this. Revelation, Apocalypsus.
Second close.
It's not the revelation of Yochanan, it's the revelation of Yeshua to his servants. I want to show you a couple of quick things. I didn't have this scheduled, so I may not be able to locate it, but then again, I may be able to locate it. Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Oh. I'm so glad it's rabbis.